welcome to another edition of the People's Lawyer channel. Today we're looking at how to protect our boys and girls, because although we know we should be taking them out of school because we're not too convinced about the gender re-identification or the climate indoctrination or the hypersexualization and loss of innocence that's going on in schools more and more now, for some reason, we feel that now is not the right time. And there are basically three reasons why this might be the case. Firstly, we don't feel that we are confident in the process of taking a boy or girl out of school for whatever reason. We may not feel confident in our own ability to educate them or to find them a suitable education, or there may be some other psychological reason. The second factor that we can identify as putting people off is lack of time. They could be single parents who have to work and simply don't have the time to supervise their boy or girl during the day. And then the third reason is the environmental factor, that you may well be on the page of freedom and sovereignty, but you are surrounded by the terminally compliant and fearful. And you are concerned that if you start taking proactive action to remove a boy or girl from school, then all the people around you will take countermeasures and ostracize you and start calling you names, and it could collapse your family and social life. Well, we don't want that to happen, certainly not yet anyway. What we have therefore, or what we're suggesting, is a temporary, interim, or transitional remedy. Call it what you like. And it's based on teaching our boys and girls to self-assert, to start to use confidence and self-assertion tactics based on the knowledge that we're going to provide over the next few minutes. And in particular, we're going to show them something that we've called the school protection card. This school protection card can be downloaded as a PDF from the description box on the YouTube channel, or from the website as a PDF free resource download. And if you come to a live on location talk, then you'll be able to take copies of it from me. Or if you are part of a group, you'll be able to order them from me and have them posted out to you if you can't get to a talk. These will be hard card samples of the protection card. Obviously, if you download it, you will just be downloading onto paper, but then you can print your own and you will have, in effect, the same version that I've got. So let's now go through the protection card. And it says on the front, under threat from staff. The situation is where your boy or girl is under threat because they are not fitting in to the agenda. So they're being threatened with extra homework, with detention, with some kind of isolation. And rather than pulling them out of school, what we can do is provide a partial remedy, as it suggests on the card itself. Point one, teach them to ask the staff member whether they are giving an order or simply making a request. Point two, if the staff member says, no, it's just a request, then teach your boy or girl that what that means is that they are free to accept or decline that request. And if they're going to decline that request, then point three says, if they choose not to do, or they feel that it's not right to do what they're being asked to do as part of the request, then teach them to simply say, thank you for the offer, sir or miss, but I do not wish to do what you are asking me to do. Point four, it says, if they say that it is an order, so if the staff member says, no, this is an order, then hand them a copy of your family invoice for fulfilling an order. Because at the end of the day, schools are run as a business and everything should be treated as commerce. Bear in mind that boys and girls are referred to as units or as the product by management. So we need to be complying on conditions, and those conditions need to be basically the prepayment of our charges for fulfilling an order. Point five, alternatively, if the boy or girl is not given a family invoice, maybe they're too young, maybe they are not confident about using it, or maybe you haven't got round to doing it, or you've done it and the boy or girl has forgotten to take it with them, or they do not have it on them, teach them to ask the staff member whether or not they are offering the boy or girl a choice. Point 6 says, if they say yes, you are being offered a choice, then use the strategy which we've set out in point 3, which is to politely decline their offer. So just doing this alone will give boys and girls practice in self-empowerment, standing up to authority. This is the whole point of this exercise. It's about standing up to tyrannical authority. Point 7, if they say no, you have no choice, then quote the following legislation. Literally recite it to them. So you're going to have to train your boy or girl up. They will need to be able to think at least secondary or high primary level, sort of mature primary, age 10, 11 maybe for this, or a very bright 8 or 9-year-old. What we're going to quote is Section 3, subsection 5, Modern Slavery Act 2015. And that says that it is criminal exploitation to make a person, which is a boy or girl in this case, do something against their will using threats or force. Now, obviously, the legislature didn't have the schooling situation in mind. So we're being creative here. There's no reason to believe that this act cannot be used in a schooling situation. We are being threatened. We are being coerced. They are sometimes using physical force to make us do things that are against our wishes. This will obviously have repercussions. It will create a culture shock in the classroom or outside in the corridor. And we can expect an escalation from the staff. Maybe they'll bring in the head teacher or the deputy head. So we have to be prepared for this. And this is represented in point 8. It says on the back of the card now, if the situation gets worse, and it's pretty much guaranteed to get worse, after using any of the above strategies, then remind the staff member of the international law. And the international law that we're referring to is set out on the card. It's the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989, Article 28, which says discipline in schools should respect human dignity. Now, clearly, if they are escalating their threats or their punishments because they do not like your attitude, and they are going into cognitive dissonance because such level of self-assertion and empowerment has never been seen before or tolerated before in the school, well, what we're doing here is putting a spanner in the works of the tyrannical agenda. Going back to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, let's have a look at what it says on the card. All countries have signed this convention, therefore all countries are bound by its terms. All schools are bound by it as government agents. Remember that the agent binds the principal. All staff are bound by it as school employees. So the employee is an agent of the school, which is an agent of the government, which is bound by the signature to the United Nations Convention. Finally, if they punish or humiliate you or simply make you feel afraid, the school could and should get into a lot of trouble, because it will be breaching an international convention. And that is very, very serious. The reason why schools have not been punished before for maltreating or abusing or humiliating children is that it hasn't occurred to anyone. Everyone has been like rabbits caught in the headlights. But what we're doing here is opening out the law to stand on our rights to a dignified treatment in schools, where we, as I suggested before, would like to pull our boy or girl and deregister them from school, but for some reason, it's not quite right at the moment. There is a sample family invoice on the back of the card that you'll find. So it's with a suggested fee schedule for compliance with an order from a school staff member. I'll just give you a sample from it, which is, if you are offered isolation or solitary confinement, we're going to be charging, our suggested charge is £500 per minute. Now, in the adult world, if the police take you away unlawfully for no lawful reason, they have no reason to detain or arrest you, and you end up in a police cell, and you're a vulnerable person, so that would include a child, that can be charged at £3,000 a minute. So £500 per minute for a school false imprisonment or humiliation of any kind or isolation of any kind is certainly a reasonable charge, and it should put them off. I know that out there are boys and girls, and particularly teenagers, who would love to put this into operation immediately. And when enough of them do this, we will put a dent in the school agenda. That's the whole purpose of this. The good news is that irrespective of this strategy, I do have it on reliable anecdotal evidence that the number of boys and girls kept away from school has doubled in the last 2 years, maybe even doubled in the last year. And I do believe that we are now at the tipping point, or very close to the tipping point, of 500,000 boys or girls kept out of school. If we can double that as soon as possible and get 1 million out of school, then we are on the way to re-establishing sanity and sovereignty, not just in school, but in society itself. The card should be printed and ready by the time you're watching this, but even if it isn't, then as I said before, you have the download on the website and in the description box. Thank you again for your attention. Keep watching out for more videos. Stay safe, stay free, stay sane. Above all, assert your own power. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.